Right, welcome back. This is Good Morning Africa. My name is KWAME Sudan. So this is the News for Review segment, and I'm super elated to be here seated and to be bringing you the show. I've been joined in the studios by Dr. Robert Kukaganablem, former MP for Binduri, and definitely he will come back. He will definitely, if he doesn't come back, I'll go to his house and go and shoot him. Solomon OWUSU is here this morning as well. I call him Bolusco. We understand our terms. Don't try to ask me what it means. Bolusco. Good morning.
Bolusco. Morning.
How are we?
I'm very well. You're looking great. Yes.
You know, this suit was made in Ghana.
You see, that's what we're talking about.
Made in Ghana, yeah. By my tailor. I was there. I said, "Oh, boss, I've tried suit too." And I said, "Oh, you've tried?"
Oh, no.
Then the guy brought it and said, "Hey, this one is your trying."
No, he's good.
He's good. His name is Peter.
Peter.
Let me put his number out. I'm sure people will call him and then. You know.
Certainly he has found a good marketer.
Oh yes. Peter, this suit there, you kill it.
Peter is on point.
Peter is on point. Peter is not Peter Mewu. This is Peter.
This is different Peter.
Proper Peter.
Okay.
0242 53 6003. 0242 53 6003. He usually does my kaftans and things like that. So I was there. I said, Peter, can't you try? Just try how to make suits. He said, I was there. He said, boss, I've made you a nice suit. He brought it, and I wore it. I'm like, hey, you didn't even measure me. You know that thing. Oh, Charlie. This one is.
You have to send me to him.
I will, so that he will give you, because you are coming back to power, so you have to look the part. Yeah, so please call Peter on 0242 53 6003. Get a bespoke suit made for you. You're a young man, you have to dress well. You have to dress well. All right, and that goes for Blessed Headman Alomaso and all the Pan-African people. Sudan delegation to meet mediators. Daily Graphic. MPP launches Manifesto. NDC next NDC government to investigate non-existent Qatar port. Peace Council, a waste of tax revenue. Scrap it. Movement for change. These are the topics that we've tabled for our conversation this morning. I've already introduced our panelists. Let's get straight into action. Sudan. They've met. I mean, look, Solo, you've been following the events in Sudan, South Sudan particularly. Sudan proper. And, there are so many issues. They have gone back to fighting. We are told that every day about 10 million people are displaced, 20% of them being children. And, they wanted to go and have a conversation in Switzerland, a truce, conversation in Switzerland. The two fighting factions, one of them decided to accept, the other decided not to accept. And the explanation given was that, they did not want to see United Arab Emirates. They did not want to see Egypt or Algeria, I believe, Egypt or Algeria. They did not want to see Saudi Arabia, and also African Union, because in their estimation, African Union and all these other people that I've mentioned are the reasons why the fight is ongoing. Now, if you are going for a truce and the truce is primarily to be able to send humanitarian aids, then you are not helping stop or resolve the matters. You are actually just happy that the matter is happening so that you can send in humanitarian aid. And so that is where we are. They are saying that, I think the first meeting I followed a little bit. I've forgotten the details of it, but I followed a little bit. And let's see how it pans out. But they are going to meet with the mediators. I don't know whether any good will come out of it. Do you suspect that some good will come out of it?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers. Good. The interested parties are the names the parties themselves have mentioned. United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. It's rather Egypt, because you see, Egypt shares the Nile with them. And the Nile is a very important resource for both countries. And they have been fighting over it for a long time. So it is in the interest of Egypt that there is confusion in Sudan. In the open, they will not come and admit, but behind the scenes, they are happy. It is also in the interest of the United Arab Emirates that there is confusion in Sudan, because most of their security personnel, that's the police officers in the UAE, are Sudanese. Likewise, Saudi Arabia. So these are the people funding the confusion, using the two generals who are so uncivilized, who are not serious in their mindset. Because at the end of the day, the people that are dying in Sudan, they are not Ghanaians, they are Sudanese. And you claim to be fighting in the interest of these people, and you are killing them. Hamiti and the other general, they must stop this nonsense. We are tired of some of these things. You are killing your own people. Meanwhile, your children, your wives are living abroad. See where they want to go and do this mediation. Switzerland. You are in Africa. We have 52 countries or 52 or 54 countries in Africa. You couldn't get any place to do them. Just like when we are doing Africa conference with Europeans, always Europeans are hosting it. You have Macron, young man, sit in France and invite all these old men or elderly men. Then they will board a flight and go and meet Macron and go and speak nonsense. What is this? So it is the interest, and until the Sudanese themselves realize that, hey, we are one people, it's not going to go anywhere. I have always said that, Kwame, when they say there are peer pressure here and there, I don't believe it. Peer pressure. If I'm giving you pressure and you are not interested, why must you fall for it? If someone comes to your house and give you a gun, that go and shoot your mother, don't blame the person that gave you a gun, because if the person had the capacity to kill your mother himself or herself, he would have done so. But he gave it to you. Once the person gave you the gun to shoot, the person was giving you an option. It is for you to use it or not to use it. If these people are giving you money to kill yourselves and you will not be sensible and you are killing your own people, now displacement, go to Ethiopia, the number of Sudanese that are crossing there, therefore now it's an eyesore. People are starving to death. Those of us in Ghana that are not even fighting, see the hunger. We are here, there is no confusion, but see the hunger, we are unable to cope. Sudanese inflation now is hovering around 157%. Ours is 20.9. See the hustle. See how we are struggling. How make 157%? So, Kwame, they have to reason up. The people of Sudan must take their destinies into their own hands and fight the very leaders that they are following, else it is not going to change.
Very well. Thank you very much. Quick one. By Solomon OWUSU. Let me remind viewers that we are streaming live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pan-African Television, and we are also on YouTube, youtube.com/Pan-African Television. So for the very many viewers that we have scattered across the continent, I want to encourage that you share your thoughts and your views with us here on the show, and I'll be more than excited and willing to read them here for you. Dr. Marazuk just joined us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I trust you are well.
I'm well.
Very well. Let me come to you, Dr. Robert Koga-Gnamblem, on this Sudan matter.
Yes.
Briefly.
Good morning. Good morning to Mazuk, my nephew.
Good morning, sir.
Man of the yellow.
It's a movement.
The yellow movement.
It's a movement for change.
Yes. Good morning, Kwame. It has been a while.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm happy to.
Yeah, because now you don't give me too laughing.
To join you once again. And
I go to last week, Tamale. His wife is better. He doesn't give me the chosen. The wife gives me chosen. Oh, mother, me did chosen. Now is also die papa. Better dream.
So let's have gender equality. I go for uncle.
No, but me the wife. Oh. Because uncle will give you only one meat. The wife will give you 10. Confirm matter. To be real confirms.
Healthy one. This one.
No. Hey. Okay, I get it.
I knew you didn't understand.
No, this is the proper one. Yes, my boss.
the issue of Sudan and then the warring factions. You've said it all. It is the countries that are supporting this conflict that are the problem. The armed forces of Sudan, the RAF, is saying that they are not going to succumb to negotiations that allow dissidents to continue to cause mayhem in their country. The Rapid Support Force, which is led by General Hamdan, is fighting the armed forces. And therefore, no country or its armed forces will sit down for rebels, dissidents to cause mayhem. And the funny thing is that this is being facilitated by the UAE, by Egypt, by Saudi Arabia.
Have you mentioned EU?
The AU to continue to cause mayhem in Sudan, which on its own is a very rich country, extremely rich in both culture and in material resources. Now, Africa, what is our independence if for all these years we are always destabilized by other countries? Send a war to your country. Send a war to Saudi. Why is it that there's no war in Saudi? Why is it that the UAE, United Arab Emirates, why is it that there's no war there? But always, we have to import this to cause mayhem, suffering to our own people. And so, yes, they are going into these negotiations in Cairo, but very little will come out of it if those countries supporting them with resources to fight do not withdraw their support and allow them to reason. Now they want to open a corridor through Khartoum for food supplies to get into the hinterlands, the areas that are controlled by the Rapid Support Force. Now, this is important not because of the RAF, but because of the citizens who are suffering, who cannot feed. There is famine, people are dying, children are dying innocently just because of the quest for power. The RAF, we are told, want to get some of their generals appointed into the Sudan Armed Forces. Now, no army would just take a rebel and put him on top of the country's armed forces. That is mayhem. That is confusion. Because the training that the regular soldiers have undergone is not the same kind of training that these dissidents and rebels have had. Guerrilla warfare is different from running the country's defense system. And so they cannot put you in charge of the Sudan armed forces. And this must be clear. Yes, you'll be absorbed into the army, but you'll be absorbed at levels where you can grow and then become a good soldier for the state. And so the African Union, which has been accused, must sit up and see how they can support truly our own African country to resolve its issues. If they are dependent on other countries to do it for us, those countries do not have our interest. The African Union must begin to be useful to Africans who formed it, not being only useful to themselves, sitting at the headquarters, and you see them doing nothing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Robert Kugagna. Let me invite into the conversation Dr. Marzouk. Doc.
Good morning, the church viewers of ours, and thanks for the opportunity to be here. Special good morning to my uncle. For a very long time I haven't seen him. You are lucky to even be eating the food. I have never ate the food. I have never eaten the food.
Then you see, then you misrepresented facts. Because you said that he gives you food, but the wife gives me food.
No, I said I am for him. I know what he gives me.
Okay.
Yes, he gives me money, not food.
Okay.
To clash. And my brother, let me tell you something. Today, both of them, Uncle, I like your submission. Of course, conventionally, no army will allow rebels to be pampered and even be brought to table for for any negotiation, conventionally. But if you look at the history, in this scenario, it is different, with all humility. It's different because the same army allowed itself yesterday to be controlled by the same rebels. The Rapid Support Force was a state-organized rebel group that caused mayhem in Darfur. So what is happening in Sudan had never been experienced by the people in Khartoum and in other big places. What the people of Darfur experience is what the larger parts of Sudan are now experiencing. So the Rapid Support Force was a tool of evil by the state-sponsored. And that is why Daglo is known as a general. This is a riffraff. He doesn't have any proper education. He is only a glorified tag, excuse me to say. And he has been raised. And this Rapid Support for there are more. That's why the war is raging on. They are more armed. They are more sophisticated in terms of ammunition than the regular army. The regular army also gave them the support to do the evil of al-Bashir and the rest. And then today, when the civil unrest started, the civil unrest started against al-Bashir. Then the regular army came in to steal the show, steal the mandate of the people. Then it came with the same Rapid Support Forces. And then along the line, they broke, they divided. So the Rapid Support Forces, so it's like thief man, God they laugh. Both of them ganged up against al-Bashir, taking advantage of the civil unrest by the ordinary people. And then today, both of them are fighting over the same position. So the Rapid Support is not the rebel that has always been opposed by the state. It is a rebel of the state, by the state, for the state. And therefore the state, when the army was sitting down looking on for the mayhem, for the barbarism to be committed by these rebels, then the same army must test the issue of it. Beyond that, you will agree with me that Sudan has become a football game for imperialists and they are stooges in the Arab world. You see, when you go to the Arab world, that's what I'm saying, that with all humility, with all humility, the Arabs are not serious. They are not serious. One, you look, all the Arab monarchies are colonies of the imperialists. They cannot take their own decision. Even sermons in Friday sermons are sometimes controlled by the White House. They are absolute colonies of the imperialists. So these people have their own interest. So clash of interest and convergence of interest. They are allies. But when they go to when you go to Sudan, UAE and Saudi Arabia, they are allies. Yeah. UAE and Egypt, they are allies. But when they go to Saudi Arabia, they behave like they are separate. Yeah, they are separate, because so we have convergence of interest and divergence of interest. You understand that? So when in Sudan, when it comes to good, you can see them as Musa and Firaun. To do good for Sudan, they will behave like Moses and Pharaoh, poles apart. To do evil for Sudan, they will behave like Musa and Harun. They will behave like Moses and Aaron, brothers. So they will come together to do bad and then separate just because they don't want to do good. That's exactly what they are doing. And it is in their interest. Now let me come. We all know the effect. Yeah, I'll conclude. We all know the effect. The effect is bad for Africa. It's bad for world politics. It's bad for food security. But the solution, I don't want to go too much. I want to go religious, because Sudan is a complete Islamic state. So I want to go religious. Sudanese, look, the warring factions, listen. At least don't listen to African leaders, don't listen to anybody. Listen to the word of your Lord. God says in the whole Quran, 1, patience. Be patient. Let everything let everybody exercise patience, and then Sudan will come to its knees. Quran chapter, Surah Yusuf, right, verse 18, we are told that for Sabrun Jameel, patience is beautiful. In other parts of the Quran, we are told in Allah as-sabirin, God is with those who exercise patience. In other words, God's blessing is on those who exercise patience. Then, if you cannot exercise patience at all, at least reconcile. And the same Quran, chapter 4, verse 1 to 8, tells us that wasulhu khair, and reconciliation is the best. I strongly believe that if they do away with anything and listen to the whole Quran, there will be peace in Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marazuk, for that wonderful delivery. Look, I wanted us to dive straight into the matter of the MPP Manifesto launch, but I think that there's a topic on the front page of the Inside newspaper that's worthy of our attention and our comment, and is one that is captured quite prominently in the manifesto of Mr. Alan Kojo-Kyerematen, and it excites me because he has proffered some solutions in respect of this subject matter that I just want to quickly bring to our attention so that we touch on that briefly. Now, it says GH ports bleeding from fraudulent activities of foreign companies, importers, customs, and others. And if you read the story, it is talking about the fact that there's consistent under-invoicing and misrepresenting of the freight and whatnot, and it cites how much we lose at the ports. We lose 3 billion Ghana cedis monthly. 3 billion Ghana cedis monthly. Cumulatively, you're looking at about, the last check when I was having the conversation with Mr. Alan Kojo-Kyerematen on his program, Alan Speaks on Pan-African television, it became evidently clear that we lose about $238 million annually from some of these leakages that that we are experiencing at the port. And I think that it's important for us to begin to have that conversation. We had that conversation in the past, and Kenneth Furata, when he was before the Public Accounts Committee, one of the reasons I really liked the gentleman in the early days of his when he got the opportunity to serve as a minister, was that he was able to identify the issue. And oftentimes we do know that when you identify the issue, you are halfway to solving the problem. So his identification of the issue is what gave me some confidence that they were going to pluck those loopholes and bring about some, serenity in that space. But what we are learning per, a press conference that was held by an organization reveals that over 71 foreign companies have been found to have engaged in serious violations and abuse of import declaration forms, and through fraudulent and criminal activities such as money laundering, tax evasion, misdescription, that's false description of their products, under invoicing, among others. And I just want us to take a minute or two to respond to this favorably. So, respectfully, let me start with you. And look, Alan has proffered solutions, but it is important, before even we get to the solution, to also place a lot of spotlight on the problem. Because if we don't expose these things, it will continue to linger. And we may create some semblance of a solution, but it may not necessarily eradicate, some of these gruesome things that we are seeing happen at the port. 3 billion Ghana cedis every single month. 3 billion every month. And this is just the ports. So
that is 36 billion cedis a year.
Yeah.
5 years, you are talking about almost 190 billion.
This is just they being charitable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just figures that was given to them.
Yes.
Because at the last check, I said we lose $238 million.
Yeah.
That's at the last check.
Yeah. No, because and it tells you that foreign companies are the biggest culprits in this. Is that not the case?
Indeed, 71 of them.
And you see, most of the problems we face in this country, the crimes are not committed by the bigger crimes. Are not committed by Ghanaians. They are committed by foreigners. And they do so in collaboration with the GRA and, let me say, the SEFs. And it has been so because there is no clarity in our tax regime. I mean, if someone is bringing a car, shipping a car from the US, if you like, put 3 SEFs officers here at the port and ask them how much duty do you think I'll be paying? They will not be able to tell you. You know, they have a range. I was so disappointed one time that I had my goods at the port, and when they were trying to be funny with me, I went inside to find out what they were doing. They were now looking at the prices of my item on the internet.
Wow.
They will go on the internet, depending on the site. If someone is selling, say, this particular TV on his website at 2 cedis, then that person, the sales applies. I said, are you kidding me?
So there are no internal control.
There are no internal control, there are no specificities. Because you see, when I am going to buy an item from, say, vendor A, depending on my relationship, I'll be able to get some rebate, you understand, because of the special relationship. It does not mean that the price that is on the internet is the same price that everyone is buying across board. And they have what you call the minimums and the maximums. Depending on my relationship with Kwame, if Kwame comes, he does not pay a huge bribe, then I apply the maximum invoice rate. Because every item, this water, they will give you the minimum. They say the minimum will be 1 cedi, maximum will be 10 cedi. Kwame didn't pay any bribe, so I used the 10 cedi to do the calculation. Because the basis of the calculation of port duties is the invoice value. Once you are able to tamper with the invoice value, all other costs emanate from the invoice value. You get my point? And that is what they have been doing. So, to deal with it, we must first of all let our tax policies be clear. Tell us that when you are bringing this water, it's 5 cedi, so that everyone knows. Don't let it be discretionary. If you allow discretionary powers or rules, then self authorities will take advantage of it. They are making more money than the state. So let it be clear. 2, we must go back to what the GTP is saying. Lifestyle audit. Someone is a sales officer today, tomorrow. Mind you, in the security agencies, everyone wants to go to SERPs, and SERPs at the port. What is at the port? Criminals in guys, we know all of them. You see, we dilly-dally with a lot of issues in this country. We dilly-dally. President Mills one day, he saw that the emotions that he exhibited. Because clearly he saw that these people are stealing us. What happened? Later on, the very people he went, those that were following him, they will even call them, as for old man, you come here once, you won't come again. So we must begin as a country, as a matter of urgency, to look at lifestyle audit. How you were able to build within 2 years. I'm not saying that everyone is a thief. If you have gotten your consultancy, you have been given money, and you are built, I have to be happy. And there will be evidence to that effect. If you are doing a business and you are making profit and you are building, who am I? You can explain. But if you cannot explain, then you have something to do. So let us be clear on our tax regimes. And Kwame, we will be okay. This is true. The 3 billion is true. It could even be more.
No, apparently it's actually.
And the multinational companies are the ones doing it. They bring goods worth billions into this country. And they evade the taxes with the full connivance of the SERPs officials. Without the connivance of the SERPs officials, it will never happen. It will never happen.
But Dr. Mazuk, my issue has got to do with discipline. You see, it comes back to our genuine love for the country. You know, I mean, look, sometimes I shudder to use this example, but I'm forced to, particularly because of the journey of that country, and juxtaposing same with the journey of Ghana, and looking at the knowledge, the depth of knowledge that we have in this country, and juxtaposing same with the depth of knowledge that the people have in those countries, right? I am tempted, even though I'm restrained, but I'm tempted to use the example of Rwanda to say that, look, the only reason why Ghana is underdeveloped is because of our attitude, you know, our non-love for the Republic of Ghana, our non-Ghanaianness. It is what is accounting for all of this. Because at the heart of this, if you read the story, it tells you that these multinational companies, as has been eloquently and passionately delivered by Solo, you know, is not one that is achieved by themselves alone. They do that in connivance with the state officials. But you will be so you have to hate the country so much to want the country to fail, by parochially doing things that will only benefit you and not the state, Dr. Marazuk. That doesn't bother you. And yesterday I was in this heated conversation with a few friends of ours, and we're having this exact same conversation. And one of the gentlemen actually regurgitated my exact fears when he pontificated that, look, when he sees there were some kids around, he says, Kwame, I fear for these kids. Like, I'm scared because in the next few years, at least we are old, but these kids, what are we leaving for them? What country are we building for these kids, Dr. Martin?
You are absolutely right. Patriotism is almost non-existent these days. And one of the factors is the concept or the mentality, let me call it, the mentality of partisanship over patriotism. I am not a friend of military regimes. I am not, and I have always condemned it. But compare, even though people may argue that it was out of fear, whatever it was, doesn't matter. What matters is the effect. Compare the regime of the PNDC regime, which I hated. I don't like military junta. It was a bogus regime, but there was discipline. There was discipline. Look, we are talking of today democracy. Democracy has done a lot for us, but when it comes to patriotism, I think the kind of democracy we are practicing in the Fourth Republic dilutes patriotism. I'm telling you. You see, we are here talking about state. Just look, and Solo has spoken out of experience. He's a businessman. My brother, who are the custom officers? How are they recruited? Party lines. A card-bearing member of a governing political party, and mark my word, a governing political party, not the governing political party. A governing political party has more chances than a non-card-bearing member of a governing political party to join SEPs. It happened in NDC regime. It happened in MPP 1. It happened in MPP 2. It happened in it is happening in MPP 2 now, right? And I strongly believe that if you and I do not rise above the rhetorics, above the complaints on TV, it says it will continue to happen. So you go to the genesis of the issue. Recruitment itself is highly partisan. It's not patriotic, right? Policy making, public policy in this country is highly geared towards partisan
inclinations.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's sort of patriotic intent, right? Look, every nice policy brought by every political party is either politicized or has a political undertone, and that is why we are suffering. Look, what we are talking about could have been solved by the Baumiers digitalization concept. But number one, do we all even agree with him? Because he's not a member of our party, we don't agree with him. Number two, is he himself sincere in pursuing that agenda? Is he sincere? Is he doing it because of the electoral fortunes of his party, or because of the development of the Republic of Ghana? These are the questions I will leave for our viewers to answer. You see, so when public policy becomes a partisan tool instead of something to develop the Republic of Ghana, that is how we are going to suffer. This is purely a state issue. But when you do the proper analysis of it, you realize that the factors will be partisan. So, my brother, I think we should all come together. And even above the politicians, or beyond the politicians, let me also say that even those of us who are not politicians and will not even make comments, will choose to be silent. And, sages are of the view that when the bad deed becomes too obvious, silence becomes connivance. And I think we need to...
Brilliance. Thank you very much. Let me remind viewers, the WhatsApp number and the text number is active, so you can share your views with us here on the platform. Also, we are streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. Please share the feed so others can get the opportunity to comment and give their thoughts on the matters that we have raised for our discussions today. Let me come to Dr. Kokalu Nablem on this subject matter. Respectfully, sir.
Yes, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
The issues that we are faced with regards to the pilfering, the stealing in the ports, is about our educational system and how we develop as human beings.
All right.
Where moral consciousness is lacking, moral conscience is lacking in a country, that country cannot grow. You see, human beings by nature are born greedy, wicked, and selfish.
Brutish.
Yes, so it is the society that is able to shape the human being and let him know what is good and what is bad.
Sure.
The ability to do this can only make you a good citizen for the country. You see, we are in a country where pastors are specialized in prosperity gospel. You are born to prosper. You are born to be the head and not the tail. This kind of thing, you build it in people, and when they get a job, they want to be the head and not the tail. The good and hard-working ones are pushed out, and those who are able to tell lies are pushed up. That country cannot progress. We are in a country where you go to, I repeat this again, I said it the last time, you go to law school not to learn the law, but to learn how to know the judges. I mean, how can you, once you know how to know the judges, your case is done. That country cannot prosper.
You can prosecute.
Yes,
And jail your
that is the problem. So we must look at our educational system properly and make sure that the young ones coming out of our schools have some level of integrity, morality. I mean, if you have somebody lying all over the place, an elder who is supposed to always stand by some truth, and the fellow is lying continuously, what example are you bringing to bear on the young ones who are growing up? And so we have, Rollins used to talk about the moral fiber of our society is broken. We have to fix the moral fiber. He was a prophet. Because when you do not fix the moral fiber, you are not going anywhere. And that is the situation we have in our country. We have to rethink, reset Ghana. And you see, the pilfering in the ports, which enabling foreigners to invade taxes, is facilitated by our own Ghanaian people. How do we ensure that this doesn't happen? The 24-hour economy will help this. Because what is happening is that...
The digitalization.
Digitalization, I don't know what that means, what is going to, with the 24-hour economy, a custom officer, when he works from the morning to about 4 o'clock, he doesn't send the documents home or lock it in his desk. Somebody else comes to continue with the documentation. And if there's kululu there, he would not leave the kululu in those documentations, because somebody coming would have to work till morning and leaves. And then leaves the documents there for somebody else to continue. So when the documents are able to change hands properly like that, the time will be so fast that nobody can say, oh, bring this and I'll do that. We have to see. No. And the problem is we have custom officers who send documents to their houses. The following day you come, he hasn't yet come, you are waiting for him. Or they say he has locked his office and gone out. What nonsense is this? And so the 24-hour economy, which is coming to play from 2025, inshallah, will reduce all this kind of pilfering in our ports. And this is what Bawumia should be looking at, making sure that the bleeding of the country stops. I'm talking about Bawumia now. The bleeding of the country should stop before 2025. You have to stop the bleeding now. You don't allow Ghana to bleed, and then you will come and then fix it in 2025. So Bawumia must fix the situation now. The 3 billion that is going out in a month should be stopped, and this money should be used to solve the problems, the potholes that we are having on our roads. We can't travel. This money must be made sure that it's secured for the state.
And the syndicate must be dismantled.
Yeah, I mean, what actually shocks me is the fact that these companies have been surcharged by GRA. So are you listening? These companies have been surcharged by GRA. However, they have refused to pay the penalties involved because of the intervention of some custom official who, through the back door, step surcharging them for forfeiture arrangements for their own parochial interests. That's what we are being told. And for me, it kills me.
So that's why I mentioned the syndicate. This is a complete work of a syndicate.
Yeah.
And that syndicate must be dismantled.
Yeah, indeed. So, I mean, look, you should grab a copy of the Insight newspaper and, read it for your benefit. Let us know what is happening in this country so that we can all save it. Enough of this NDC, MPP, and MPP. We should move beyond that. Yeah.
When they get
I'm telling you,
these kind of activities, they'll go back and sponsor the political parties.
Indeed.
The political party financing. So when you finance them, how are you going to deal with them?
Yeah.
That is why we need an independent candidate.
Yeah.
Very important. You see, people are taking this whole thing for granted. Yes. Without that, Kwame, we aren't going anywhere. We aren't going anywhere.
Right. We ain't got it anywhere.
Yeah. Don't worry when we come as then we will find the position.
Let me read a few messages and then we proceed. Good morning to you, sir. To you and your guests. Please kindly tell my senior brother Solomon OWUSU I want to speak to him off air. You've given your number, Abu Tolon North. Thank you, Abu. I will give it to him. Pass it on to Solomon OWUSU. From Amia Francis, I'm in Fee Central. Please, I want to tell the MPP government and Bawumia to stop campaigning and supply teachers laptops before promising us again. We must vote for Mahama. This one also says, hey, this one is long. Good morning to you, and my regards to your panelists for their dedication and sense of nationality and love for the nation. You see what I have for His Excellency the Vice President is that you can do all the propaganda that you want, but your policies are weak. The climate change will expose you. Where is the one village, one dam for us to do the irrigation farming since there are no rains? There is the policy of planting. Where is the policy of planting for food and jobs? Because Ghanaians are jobless and hungry. From Dauda Swale in Yendi. Okay, thank you very much. This one says, okay, it's quite lengthy, I can't read it. This one says, hi, Kwame, it's high time for patriotic Ghanaians to consciously and sagaciously and democratically oust this cruel incumbent partisan cartel of cabal who are most incorrigibly and charismatic leaders shrouded with a colonialist mentality. Where is it? Oh, the message has disappeared. Okay, I think you deleted the message and you want to resend it. I don't know what was going on. This one says, good morning. Hi, good morning to you too. A few WhatsApp messages and then we will proceed. Kewode, good morning to you. Doctor, I hear Dr. Bawumia says hardship in Ghana is real. Kwame, who caused it? Please, when are you featuring Malik Basintali on your morning show so that we glue ourselves to our TV sets? He's a great communicator. At the right time, we'll invite him onto the show. This one says, good morning to you, Pan-African Television. Every sector or government institution in this country is not living up to expectations. Corruption, pilfering, and other negatives have engulfed each one of them. The system needs to be sanitized, the economy needs to be reset. I'm voting for John Dramani Mahama to bring back the discipline, competence, and respect we used to have as a country. Osman Anthony from Sunyani sent in this one. This one also says, good morning to you, KOD. All right, good morning to you, sir. That's all you sent. This was about Mia should be reminded that the more he continues to rattle promises, he's rather showcasing the weaknesses and failures of the very government he's part of. Ghanaians do not have any trust left for him, but are earnestly waiting for the Messiah in person. John Domani Mahama, Nana Kakari from Techiman, sent in this very message. KOD, correct the notion that MPP gave teachers laptops. It's not true. Teachers paid for it by Sualesu governor in Wolensi. Well, thank you very much for your correction. This one is from Mystic from Gomwa West. Replacing the current president with any of his allies to govern Ghana is like substituting the word bad with worse. If the father elephant himself is crippling, what would the state be? What would be the state of his babies? All right. This one also says, good morning to you, Kwame. Mr. Kwame, is that all Dr. Bawumia has in his manifesto? Ghana is actually on the road to catastrophic end. Kofi G from Avlekuma, one of them. John Beto in Oti region says, everything narrows down to poor supervision and mismanagement. Some auditors contribute to our problems when it comes to corruption. Example, collapsed banks. These banks were audited yearly. Good morning, Pan-African Television. John, thank you very much for your message this morning. Good morning to you, KOD. I'm a freight forwarder in Tema. What goes on at the port on a daily basis is not something we need to take lightly. I just wish you would disguise yourself and visit the port one day just to see what is happening here. Some officers don't even know how much they take as salaries. The monies they take home each day, Interesting. He did not send add his name, obviously, for obvious reasons. Please ask Alan's representative, how can we see Alan as the new force, devoid of partisan politics, when Alan said we should vote for him as president and MP parliamentary candidate? Is he really being the neutral person we want?
No,
all right. I'll give you the opportunity to respond to that. This is just the beginning, because you can sell jobs to citizens and expect them to have the country at heart. Oh, okay. You can't sell jobs to citizens and expect them to be patriotic. Dramani from Damango. You know how people get jobs these days.
Now, teacher, to be a teacher, you pay 10,000 or so.
All right.
Yeah, 15,000.
This one says, good morning to you. I am in Dekperubo, Michael, watching live from Binduri in the Upper East region, and I want to thank our father and mentor, Honorable former MP, Dr. Robert Kogagnablem, for the good work he's doing for the nation. May God continue to strengthen him and Pan-African Television as well. Thank you very much. This one says, I really enjoy your review segment due to the level of education and information you people give. Kudos. Martin Solomon from Achim Kade. Thank you, Martin, for your message this morning. This one says, good morning to you all. Hey, so do we have leakages at our port again with all the paperless implementation by the mate, Dr. Bawumia? Ghana for you, from Amos in Asen Fosu. We'll come back to the messages. I've seen a number of them also on Facebook. John Kujo says, good morning to you. Yesterday I listened to Napo telling us that Dr. Bawumia is not corrupt and he can't be corrupt, but he has forgotten about PDS, where he changed bank guarantee to insurance guarantee. The Ameri deal, Polugu Dam scandal, 2 million Sky Air and 100,000 rice scandal. We'll come to all the messages on Facebook as well. Now, because it appears a lot of people want to talk about this whole manifesto launch and things like that. Solomon OWUSU, I think I need to start with you on this one. You are not an MPP member, but you have dined with them before, we're going into the election and wined with them. And wine with them.
I've dined and wined with them.
So you know them better. You know them better. You know them better. Manifesto launch. There are 10 key.
I love your choice of words.
Thank you, Dr. Manzo. Now there are 10 takeouts, from this whole manifesto launch, and a number of people have put them out there. What is quite intriguing for me is the constant promises, the recurrence of promises that we've heard before, promises which have not seen the light of day, promises which have not been materialized, promises which gave the MPP an opportunity in 2016 and gave them another opportunity in 2020. Those promises have not been fulfilled, and yet we've gone back making those same promises again in expectation that the Ghanaian people will vote for the MPP. I mean, I have consistently, without equivocation, opined with all certainty that it appears right now that Ghanaians have moved beyond the periphery of just making promises and sloganeerism to actually understanding what is in the manifestos therein. I have come to the point where that realization has dawned on me that people are now beginning to ask questions. So if you say you are going to do $1 million per constituency, the question is, how are you going to make the money? And how are you going to sustain that? We've learned lessons, great lessons from the implementation, the abysmal implementation of the free SHS policy. The policy is good, implementation worse, sustainability none. So the question for me really is that we're going into another battle, a battle that possibly will change the fortunes of this country or further drive us down the ditch. We should be having conversations about the how and not just the what, because we've overheard all these politicians trumpeting and heralding, and creating the impression that they know the what. Obviously, all of us do know the what, all right? But what we do not know is the how. And to sustain that how is a question of fact, which all of us must begin to get the right and elicit the right answers, from these politicians. Your general assessment, really, of the manifesto launch, and whether or not you have any scintilla of trust and the possibility of some implementation in respect of these policies which have been put forward by the MPP. Bear in mind also that the policy lacks detail, because what they have given to us is just more like a, how do I even describe it? It's more like snippets of the policy. Also bearing in mind, and finally I'm talking plenty, also bearing in mind that there were some promises that were made to us in 2016. You recall when they, and I'll say it. I think it was in respect of this one district, one factory. And I heard Mavis Howard Kumsen on Joy FM at the time. I think she was leading that project at one point, where she said that there was no mention that government was going to by itself deliver on that promise, and that there was going to be done in consonance with private sector. That explanation was not given to us prior to the 2016 elections. And so now we don't want those narratives anymore. We want practicalities. Do you see that there is some modicum of truth in this policy or the policies, and for us to give the MPP another opportunity to rule this country?
KWAME, this is a loaded question that I have to navigate through. But first of all, let me say that there is a propaganda going around that Alan is not going to contest. Alan is returning to the MPP. He said it last Tuesday. Let me re-echo the point that Alan will be on the ballot come 2024 December. There is also a BNI, a front page story that says that the MPP is working tirelessly with the Electoral Commission to disqualify Alan. Yeah. Let me assure all our supporters who are calling, who are crying, they don't let you sleep, that nobody would disqualify Alan. It will take Alan to disqualify himself. Mm. He has been a Minister of State before. He is a figure, a huge figure in Ghanaian politics. So nobody will disqualify him. KWAME, they say the message is as good as the messenger. That's where I'll start from. So politics and manifestos are only a set of promises, not backed by plans. And that is why you recall Alan put up what you call the Great Transformational Plan. It was for a reason, that to depart from the usual set of promises without giving an indication as to how to achieve it. And that is why this yellow book, and I will entreat every Ghanaian, it's online, to have a copy of the Great Transformational Plan. Alan has been doing his session with KWAME too, where they go through the policy step by step, and he tries to explain how to achieve each and every set of promises that he will give.
Some of the policies that Alan spoke about when I last interviewed him were highlighted by the
I'm
MPP.
coming there.
You need to.
But you know, Kwame, Alan has made the work of the NDC and MPP very easy. Now they have a reference document to refer to put in their manifesto. On infrastructure, it was a wholesale lifting of what Alan has said. He has said that there was no reason, there was no basis for government to collect tax revenue before it moves into development, and that we can partner with the private sector to the PPP arrangement or BOT or BO and so on and so forth. Private sector comes in throughout the world. Airports are built by private sector. Roads, hospitals. It is for government to provide the legal framework so that they do not charge exorbitant prices. And that is the work of government. Now, you go into the promises that they offer. What are the promises? Juxtapose what happened yesterday to the previous manifestos, and you see that it's just rephrasing. And then they engage a lot of literature, English experts to just be using similar words here and there. Semantic gymnastics. And some of the promises are not, like you put it, are just to deceive the minds of the people. For instance, if you tell me that when you come, you apply a flat tax rate, it's just to deceive the people. You need to define what that rate is. So you see, they are right there giving themselves a passage to run away. He will come to government and he will introduce the flat rate, all right, but he will give you a flat rate of, say, 40%, which will be expensive. Then you will go back and say, but you say you give us a flat rate. And you will say, yes, but I did not tell you the rate. Because rate is a percentage. What percentage is he going to give to you? We are not asking that. Now, here is a flag bearer who is saying that the whole target of this manifesto is to propel business growth and also create jobs. Is that not the case? Now, he is telling us that, and we all know that two issues confront businesses. One is the tax regime, and two is your monetary policy. Now, with your fiscal policy, which is taxes, if taxes are too high, businesses will not thrive. Now, this is a flag bearer promising that when he comes, he will remove taxes. And I say you have to listen to him twice, because he's not being truthful to you. Why do we have more taxes at this moment? Why did we introduce the e-levy? We are at the moment with the IMF. The IMF told us to increase our tax revenue by increasing taxes so that they can get back their 3 billion they are investing in your economy. Now, with the staff level agreement that we signed with the IMF, Ghana's delegation, those that led our discussions with the IMF, was led by the Vice President Baumia. In fact, the program that we are implementing today, that is unleashing more hardships, which he himself admitted that yes, he agreed that there are more hardships on Ghanaians. He led the discussions and gave the IMF the program that we are willing to increase taxes. So you that are unleash taxes onto us, why must we believe you that when you come to power, in an unlikely event, you will remove those taxes? In any case, when you remove those taxes, did we have e-levy before you came to power? There was no e-levy, but you brought the e-levy. So he's just playing with our minds. Now, this is someone who is saying that when in his next administration, interest rate is going to go down. When you came, the policy rate of the country was 25%. And businesses cried, bemoaned that situation during the NDC era, that it was too high. Because there is no business worth a sort that can survive with an interest rate in double digits. You did not reduce it. You have sent it to 29%. And here you are telling me that given another opportunity, it will be brought back. Based on what? Meanwhile, you have not shown any clear path as to how you are going to reduce interest rate. Now, you are saying that in your next administration,
You scrap betting tax.
you see that thing, and NDC is also playing that gymnastics. We must not entertain. Look, and all of them, that is why Alan made a prophetic statement. People didn't understand that we must have people who live like Christ. People didn't understand. All of you claim to be Muslims and Christians. What part of Quran supports gambling? Which part of, what do you call it, Bible support gambling? You are going to remove betting tax to, as it were, encourage more betting. Is that not the case? Meanwhile, your very manifesto, what is the team saying? That it is going to provide jobs. Now, if you are providing jobs, one of the main reasons why the young ones are betting is that they don't have jobs. Is that not the case? So the idea is that the more you provide the jobs, you are taking them off betting. And you, the same person that is promising to offer his jobs, you are saying that you are going to remove taxes on betting so that then you can continue to bet. What sort of reckless adults are these? Irresponsible parentage. Would he allow his son or daughter to be betting? And we have them, the two political parties, they are telling us that they are removing betting taxes to generate more tax revenue. So straight away, you know that he's lying to you. This was a vice president who sat on radio at Sempa FM and told the entire country that one of his greatest achievements had to do with the construction of Pualugu for the entire northern region. Did you hear him yesterday now say that given the opportunity, he would build the Pualugu Dam? How can we be taken so cheap like that? You lie through your teeth that you have committed to, you have failed. He said he was even done with that project. In another breath, we are told that $12 million have been expended on that project. Yet there is nothing to show for it. Now, the whole 44-page manifesto, you know that manifesto is a 44-page. 1 to 27 page, 27 was dedicated to their achievements. If you go into the achievement, full of lies. You are telling us that you have created 2.1 million jobs. Where are the jobs? If government has created 2.1 million jobs, it means we must be having 2.1 million jobs registered or employees with SNIT. Is that not the case?
Indeed.
Let's assume that all previous governments never employed anyone, so that you alone came to power and employed 2.1 million Ghanaians. So we expect that all of them, because government cannot tell us that you employ people without paying them SNIT. Is that not the case? Current data with SNIT, we have less than 1.9 million people who are registered with SNIT. So if indeed you have created 2.1 million, and we assume that since independence, no one has created a job, where lies the rest? Straight away, it's a palpable falsehood. But you see, he must understand that the hardships Ghanaians are going through today is not a simple matter. I don't blame them anyway, because they wake up and there is coupon for fuel, there is food for them, they don't struggle to go and buy electricity, they have cars when there are maintenance issues, we pay for them. So they see life from that weird perspective. 99.9% of those of us who are on the highway, how to feed every day is not a simple matter. Now you see, Kwame, they also used the opportunity, and I'm always happy when Napo mounts the podium. Every day I'm happy, because if you want to know the true intentions of anybody in this administration, especially President Akufo-Addo, just pray that Napo speaks. Yesterday, he settled the matter regarding Alan, Nana Akufo-Addo, and the cabal. You are going to launch your manifesto. You have been given an opportunity as the running mate to speak. Now he tells the entire world that, look, Nana made the decision as to who will succeed him as far back as 2011. And that Nana chose him and the vice president, so that they would manipulate the system to favor them to take over the New Patriotic Party. Lo and behold, you achieve that. But you see, the truth of the matter is that you may have succeeded in choosing who succeeds you within the New Patriotic Party. But as to whether or not that strategy would work with the larger Ghanaian population. Yes, you have succeeded in doing so. And I was very happy when the flag bearer of the MPP said he was standing at the podium with fond memories, because you remember in 2008 when he was named, he was adored in Sekeni Takrade as the running mate to Nana Akufo-Addo. History is about to play out. At that time, the MPP was in government when he became the running mate, and he graciously took the MPP into opposition. Surely, he would definitely take this MPP to opposition, and to situate all these things, and why people must begin to take the Great Transformation Plan very serious. There were 319 Manifesto committee members of the New Patriotic Party. Alan single-handedly wrote this policy with some advice from few people. Alan's idea of bringing on board Traders Bank was to deal effectively with the high interest rates and the lack of access to credit by these traders. These 319 committee members they met almost 87 times, and all they did was to take Alan's GTP and then remove the Traders Bank and replace it with SME Bank. What's the difference between Traders Bank and SME Bank? If you know you are going to copy this book, why wouldn't you leave the race and leave Alan to go and win to implement the original ideas? The man says he is going to deal with Galamsey. And I laughed. They say they have green everywhere. This Minister of Lands and Forestry, that minister, the next administration, he will have to be investigated more than any minister. You have planted with trees. TV everywhere. Now I hear they say they are giving 262 acres of land back to OWU family. Who is that OWU family? What is that OWU family? Which OWU family member has written to you that they are taking land? And which OWU family member have you given land to? It's TV. You are giving it to yourselves.
You mean the Achimota Forest?
Achimota Forest.
Yes, state it.
262 acres.
But that Achimota Forest, nobody should touch it.
No. Anybody that makes the mistake,
We will beat them.
you let them. You are getting there. Who is giving?
We will beat them. That's why we will incite people.
Worst of all, the OWU family.
There are laws in this country.
You will beat people. You don't let them.
You think Kwame Nkrumah is foolish to have left that place? You want to dissipate all the land that gives us the oxygen in this country.
See,
Within the confines of legality.
let me tell you, Kwame, the man says 262 acres that he's giving. What it means is that he is giving the OWU family 1,048 plots. For what reason? This OWU family, they were paid £4,000 at the time this land was taken. Now, does it even make sense that a government that is promising industrialization, a government that is promising housing, a government that is promising various opportunities, you would need land to be able to execute all these projects? Why are you saying you are giving 1,048 plots back to a supposed OWU family? And this is part of the manifesto. Now, cleverly, they were silent on NAPCO. Because, and it links back to why people must not take the messenger serious. This was a vice president who claims he believes in business. That there was one district, one factory, yet he could not convince his president to commit more resources into the one district, one factory secretariat so that more factories will be built. Rather, he took 2.4 billion of our money, tax revenue, and went and invested it in NAPCO. As we speak, NAPCO is collapsed. You don't have time. There are
There are so many things
James with God. So let me allow them
done
to.
very well.
And Ghanaians must not trust this. It's just a host.
I want to come to Dr. Marzuka and then I'll come to Dr. Kugab
Politician.
No,
and
no,
then you
no,
come
no,
to me.
no, no, no,
Because
no.
me, I don't have much to say.
No, so you say what you have to say.
Okay.
But let me just read a few messages.
Well, no
The
problem.
viewers are the Facebook and Instagram and everywhere is buzzing. Mystic Wonder inside his home address. As usual, Dr. Bawumia has proven once again that he is a known theoretical economist, a known talkative and an empty promise giver. What happened to the brand new vehicle for Okada and many promises? Never again to this insensitive nation wreckers. This one says, good morning to you, KOD. My greetings to your panel, especially Pasolo. As for DBW, big no to his tricks. He's behaving like a blind horse. No for him and his boss. Hard G from Tamale sent in this one. This one also says, good morning to you, KOD. I'm happy that Bawumia has realized and acknowledged the economic hardship the citizens of this country are experiencing currently. He and his MPP party will see the exit in this year's general election. Asesco J from Salt Pond sent in this one. This one says, good morning to you, KWAME. My question to Bawumia is, if he needs my vote, he should tell me how he is not able to deliver to me my laptop after deducting from my salary 400 Ghana cedis in 2021, and I've not been able to offer or deliver it to me, and tell me once again that he will give me a car and I go and vote for such an evangelist, a preacher who allows himself to be used. Wow, interesting. Thank you very much. So they actually deducted the money from source. Interesting. Bawumia is a funny man in this country. I'm from Upper East called Atubiga. Thank you, Atubiga, for your message this morning. This one says, Mr. Host, the MPP manifesto has nothing meaningful and masterful to offer the good people of this country. Every page of the manifesto is just a repetition and rehashing of their previous manifesto they launched. These brigands and buccaneers have nothing substantial to offer us at all. We must vote them out come December 7, 2024. Written by N.S. Evelov Kwashi in DANSO. Thank you for your message this morning. Good morning to you, Pan-African Television. You see, the MPP manifesto is just recycling full of empty promises and scam. Latif Nindo from Tamale sent in this particular message. MPP has destroyed the country, yet they are pushing hard to remain in power. God will destroy them as well. Mohammed from Tamale sent in this message. This one says, please, good morning to you and your beautiful panelists. Please, I'm Festus from Somanya. Please kindly help me talk to Bawumia and Napo that they have deducted our money, teachers, to supply us laptops. And up until now, in the primary sector, we have not received ours. It will help them to stop saying that it is possible, because we are ready to help them to campaign and lose massively. It will shock them. They should remember when the same shock collapsed Nana Akufo-Addo those days. All right, thank you very much. Hi, Kwame. I'd like to speak to Solomon if you wouldn't mind. This is my phone numbers. All right, you've sent your phone number. I will make sure that I pass the phone to him. And then, good morning to you, Big Man KOD. Okay, all right. Okay, you want to link up for the suit. Yes, the suit was made in Ghana by my tailor. His name is Peter. Let me put his number out again. People are asking. His name is Peter. When you call Peter, just say that you watch Champion KOD on Pan-African Television and I put his number out. You need a discount. 0242 536 0242 536 I wish I could stand up so that you see the nice clean cut, but I can't. Dr. Marzouk, let me come to you on this subject matter. Promises again, and my wife describes the political season as the silly season. Silly season, where people just make promises, plethora of them, without necessarily knowing how they are even going to execute them. And in my preamble, which is quite lengthy, I'm sure you may have heard a thing or two that will support your analysis going forward. I think that we should depart from this, unwanted, in my estimation, this unwanted narrative and this cliche of our political experiment, where we always come and make promises without necessarily telling the people how you are going to execute them. I listened to Alan. I have read Alan's policy. Now I even understand Alan's policies better, because I read them and then I introduce them to the people. Now, in Alan's policy, if you look at the macroeconomy, for instance, he was talking about revenue control, maintenance and control right? Revenue maintenance and control. And under that, he talks about the ports, how we can ensure that we plug the loopholes in order that we can save a lot of money to use those monies to do other things, right? And he spoke about, in the previous one, if you look at the youth policy, he spoke about the creating an SME bank. He called it the Traders Bank, right, for the informal sector. So his policy looks at the formal sector and the informal sector, and in my estimation, that's what we've lacked in this country all the while. We always focus on the formal sector, really. Now, let's look at Dr. Bawumia's policy and the promises that he's making. Do you find any truth in them, that there's a possibility that this time around, the MPP will be able to fulfill their promises?
Well, well, thank you once again for a lengthy question. And I will try as much as possible to answer. First of all, we need to understand, it's not just a matter of finding whether there's a possibility. Right. Because I can talk for Ghanaians. It is the electorate who will talk. So I don't want to talk for Ghanaians. But I have every right to critique whatever Dr. Bawumia brings or any other political party brings or politician brings. So first of all, we need to understand the dynamics of manifestos themselves. Right. One, I think it goes through stages. The first stage is brainstorming. Then from brainstorming, you come to conceptualization. From the conceptualization, you come to operation. That is if you are given the mandate. So the brainstorming and conceptualization are purely theoretical. And at that time, you are at liberty to say anything, including what our wife says, Ghanaian culture, our wife calls silly. And I agree with her. A quantum of silly remarks heaped on us during the electioneering campaign. And let's do this analysis objectively. And when we do so, we are going to find all the political parties guilty of a crime, a political crime. Look, one thing that defines Ghanaian politics is high promise and low delivery. That one, it defines Ghanaian politics. And it is so because politicians rely heavily on the naivety of the electorate. Unfortunately for them, as you have rightly said, there is now a high degree of awareness. People have now begun to question. And that is why Bawumia, my elder brother, my uncle, my leader, was questioned by a nursing student on the stage, fearlessly. You see how the student brought Bawumia to the fore. So people are now beginning to question politicians. A manifesto should no longer be a mere document of propaganda. It should be a practical document. That is why I think, I agree with you, that we now need to move from the conceptualization to the implementation. And that will bring to the fore the question of how. Let the politicians mount the platform to tell us how they are going to do it and not what they are going to do. As for the what, we all know. Because the big what is to develop the country.
Preach.
And the biggest how is your plan to develop the country. Now tell us your plan. So it is important for all of us to know all these things. Look, and if they want to stay within the manifesto, then they should also give us the opportunity to interrogate their manifestos. And in this context, I am proposing a manifesto week or a manifesto month. A period dedicated for all political parties to bring their manifestos. I mean, that period should be dedicated to all of them to bring their manifestos for the public to interrogate those manifestos. Party 1 this week, Party 2 today, Party 3 tomorrow, Party 3. So we do that. And then we can always, I think that I should rather be doing.
Television will do it. It's our idea. You brought it on this platform.
Yes.
We will do it. I'll let you host that program. No, I'm serious. I'll let you host it.
Then we all of us will
critique it. And we see how feasible it is. We can now see facts from fiction from your manifesto. And I think that would be fantastic. But I beg you, let me be part of those who will critique it. You can you are a very good host. You can host all of us. So that I will be the leading critique. I'll be one of those who will critique. I will. In fact, if you implement it, it will be very good.
When?
Yes, it will be very good. Manifesto week or manifesto month. And any political party that refuses to come should be named and shamed. It means that that political party has something to hide. And if you don't have anything to hide, come. Pan-African TV, Pan-African platform.
With audience.
We'll
do it down there with audience.
Yes.
So if this week is for MPP, it's for MPP.
For MPP.
Come. Dissect their matters.
Yes.
Movement for change. Movement.
Yes.
NDC.
And come and tell us what we are going to do. Because see, when we do not take the politicians on, and then we allow them to say all kinds of things, that it looks as if we are fools. They can blindfold us. They can do anything with us. And when they get the power, then they become different people. No, we need to take them on because power emanates from us. We are the power. We are just transferring the power to them. And they shouldn't be behaving as demigods. And if they behave as demigods and we do not also call them to order, then we are part of the complicity. I don't think we should do that. Let me say that, look, as for the politicking, this kind of propaganda, it is the norm of the Ghanaian political. It is the norm of the Ghanaian politician, because the Ghanaian politician. I want to mention two things that the two political parties have done, and that even prompted me to conceptualize and to come up with this idea. Two things. I don't want to talk too much. And I think this idea that I have brought should be enough for me. Kwame, we all know that special flight of guinea fowl by guinea fowl for guinea fowl in NDC. The special flight that flew from Ghana to Burkina Faso. I was told that recently the former President John Mahama wanted to explain that. I will advise him. I admire him so much. You know that I admire him. He's my. Yes, I would advise him to leave it for the party politicians, party communicators, or those who implemented that. Who implemented that project? They are the best to tell us, because look, there's too much of deception in the line of communication between the leader and the led, especially in political communication. I want to believe that most of the politicians don't tell the leaders the truth. For all you know, Dr. Bawumia is being misled by party politicians. They deceive him. And the same way former President John Mahama could be deceived by people. So let those people who supervise the special flight of the guinea fowl by the guinea fowl for the guinea fowl that took off from Ghana and landed in Burkina Faso come and explain to us. They are the best who can explain to us. Yeah. The second one. Okay. Look, Agenda 111 in simple language, and of course I can defend it anywhere, has become Agenda 419. Wow. That's my case.
Thank you very much. Lawson Julius says, with all due respect, don't compare MPP to NDC. They can never and ever be the same. You testify to what Mahama did within 4 years compared to MPP in 8 years. Maria Adams says, but we are happy when people win the US lottery. Ayamba John says, good morning to KOD. Tell Dr. Robert Kukaganablem we miss his leadership style, and yet you voted him out. Maria Adams says, my advice to the NDC is to use most of their manifesto loan to elaborate more on the benefits of the 24-hour economy, because this is a very good policy, and if it is properly implemented, can solve the problems of unemployment and help the productivity of the country, which in the end will stabilize our dollar exchange rate. Abdul Rahman says, Dr. M is doing unfair. Well, hey. Okay, Dr. Marzouk, I don't know what it means by that. Good morning to Pan-African TV. I want to establish this fact clearly, and there must be full disclosure. You have been bringing Dr. Abubakar Marzouk on your show as a neutral analyst, but he is not. He is one of Bawumia advisors behind the scenes in the Chief Imam's office. We need the disclosure so as to have a fair debate. By the way, Bawumia came into power when there was already digitization. He is not the brainchild of it. Dr. Marzouk, you have been a subject matter of personal attack.
This one I will not agree.
And this one,
He has been the most fair-minded.
you don't have to respond to everything.
We have to clear this down because someone may be.
The biggest, well, I'm sure he's not the only viewer of Pan-African TV.
But you see, if,
Yeah,
if we allow him to go with this, you will lie. In the first place, he's making a very serious allegation.
Egregious.
Egregious allegations.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even see the kind of criticism I heap on NPP and Bawumia. He doesn't see that.
Yeah.
You know the point. I have never been a politician.
So such a person, can you
Now
convince
there's
that?
also-
Can you convince that person?
He's also trying to link the office of the national.
Okay,
chief
that's why you have to respond.
Yes, to the NPP. Look, the office of national chief imam may have people who belong to various political parties. I am the PA to the national chief imam with all due respect
Humility.
and pride. With all humility and pride. It is pride to serve the national chief imam. I'm his personal assistant. I have never been a politician. I won't be a politician. There could be other people who belong to NDC or who belong to MPP.
Is their right?
Is their right? Is their political right? We have, let me tell you, and I can mention it here because they are front-line politicians. We have Mr. Osman, Deputy Executive Secretary. He is a card-bearing member. In fact, he has ever contested. He is a constituency executive member of NDC. We have Dr. Oluma. He is
Oluma, yeah.
Oluma. He is in the office of Vice President.
Oluma. I've met Oluma.
So please, I am Dr. Mohammed Marzouk Abubakar Azindu. I'm not Dr. Oluma.
All right. The biggest mistake of Ekufuado is that he doesn't want anyone to be praised apart from him and himself alone. And we all know that God doesn't like that at all. This is the main reason why Ekufuado has put we Ghanaians into this terribly horrible hardship. From James K. Sarba. Good morning to you, K. Oldie. I think that, let me be fair to other viewers, because you've sent your message and I've read the first one. Al-Hassan, I'm done from Nyohini South. What I don't understand about Dr. Bawumia is that you have the power now. If these positive ideas are helpful to Ghanaians, why not implement them now to make your winning easier rather than promising in future with a condition that we vote for you first? All right, you're speaking like an opposition leader. Okay, thank you. Good morning to you, KOD. Let Dr. Bawumia know that we are tired of historical lecture. Senior Gwali in Wallency sent in this one. This one also says, hello, KOD. Ask the MPP for me why Dr. Bawumia is referencing Ekufuado's achievements, but I always say in my government. All right, thank you very much. Messages are a lot, so I'm just rushing through them. This one says, lawyer, you know what? Ghana seriously needs what I term a revolution in a democracy, like what happened in Tanzania under the corruptless John Magufuli. No need for guns-led overthrow of elected government officials. The NDC must introduce the model of a change in our governance system to arrest acts of corruption. My regards to Dr. Kuga, Comrade Keda Kamilos Mal Neriba Tia Sagzisi from Bongo. Thank you very much.
All his names.
Yeah, let me come to you,
right.
Dr. Robert Kuga, and then we will, we'll continue with the message. The messages are pouring in, a lot of them. Yeah, so I'm trying to, just read a few of them, come back, read a few of them. Yes, Doc.
Yes, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
The manifesto is a very serious document.
Indeed.
The word manifesto is taken from the Latin word manifestare, manifestus, which is a list of facts or evidence. I did Latin up to Form 3, so I I'm very versed with the generic,
Senior citizen.
yes, generic meaning of the word manifesto. And Kwame, it was Margaret Thatcher who made the use of party manifesto very critical in governance. And so during the era of Margaret Thatcher, she made sure that nothing happened if it was not in the manifesto, because the manifesto becomes the contract with the community, with the country. Yesterday, what was presented was a very bad manifesto, a list of promises. Manifesto is not a list of promises. It is a document that spells out the intentions, the values of the political party. And they are specific and measurable. For example, when you say that every district will have a factory, that is measurable, because we know how many districts that we have. So at the end of the day, you also know what you will be providing. And so that is clear, it's measurable. When you say that in this current manifesto, Bawumia talked about completing all Agenda 11 projects. What does that mean? Completing is different from completing and putting into use. And this policy or promise, as they would want us to see them, happened some years back. At what level? You have a 4-year term. What was the completion rate of the hospitals? This is very important for us to have a measurement so that we can guide you and tell you whether you have achieved or not achieved. You see, to make matters worse for Bawumia, Akufo-Addo says he is or has been the most loyal vice president in the history of Ghana. You see, Akufo-Addo wants to be praised, and somebody talked about it in the messages. Blind loyalty is what has led us to this calamitous governance. Blind loyalty. You have a situation where Bawumia almost says he is going to remove all the taxes that his government brought into being. He was going to remove the capping on the national health insurance. He is going to, the betting tax, he's going to remove it. E-levy, he's going to remove it. Yet, you are the one who led this. And so where is the loyalty? And a manifesto is an indication of your values. So what do you stand for? What are your principles? You are not principled. And if you are not principled, you cannot rule a country. It's not a game. Every political party is distinguished from the other by the values they profess, by the principles they stand for. And all these principles are in the manifesto. You bring road tax, road toll, you bring it back. Why did you bring it in the first place? So Bawumia's blind loyalty has led us into this calamitous governance. You see, Bawumia is an example of somebody who is fidgeting around with policies and plans And such fidgeting will send us nowhere. Baumia talks about, in the health sector, also recruit more doctors and nurses and health professionals with improved conditions of service. Recruit more. What does recruit more mean? If you add 10 workers, you have recruited more. You have to tell us that this is the number and I'm going to increase it by this percentage. And that makes sense. Yes, as Solo said it, you recruit more means nothing. You are going to improve the conditions of service. Conditions of service includes from salary, retirement, work environment. It's a huge thing. Which condition of service of health professionals is not allowing them to execute their tasks properly? So you make these vague, uncontrolled, unrealistic promises. That is not a manifesto. That is entirely not a manifesto. And so he gets away with statements that are meaningless. He provides very simplistic solutions or naive and even childish solutions to serious national problems. Childish solutions to very serious national problems. And that is the issue. You see, when you have a policy and you want to avoid accountability, then you make it look like a promise. And that is why at the end of the day you say, hey, we said one district, one district, one factory, but we didn't say that this was going to be done by government. You see, you have to make sure that it's measurable. And when it is not measurable, then you cannot be accountable for it. This is what Baumia is. And then you look at his tone when he was presenting the manifesto, the so-called manifesto. I mean, it was almost like a political rally sort of presentation.
Shaky.
The tone was, I mean, it wasn't professional enough, because a manifesto is a serious document that tells us what the party is, the roadmap, and how we are going to see you implement that. But you present it in an unprofessional tone, you know,
and you were shaking.
Shaking and jacking all over. You see, inflammatory language. You have to be persuasive in bringing your plans, your visions, so that people would see you trying to persuade them that you have the best and this alternative is the best for Ghana. He failed in all and presented to us a very bad manifesto, and this manifesto certainly is not going to lead Ghana anywhere. And the idea that he is loyal, he is blindly loyal, and his loyalty is only to serve Akufo-Addo, but not serve the people of Ghana.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rob Kugagnablem. Beautifully submitted. This one is from Reverend Father Jojo Jepigabra, my uncle in Elmina, who is watching us this morning. Extends his felicitations to all of you, but also sends a message in that regard and says, good morning to you, KOD and your panelists. The originator of the guinea fowl story, Manasseh Azuri, has put out that story was made up. Check his book titled The Fourth John and watch his interview with Metro TV's Randy Abbey. Thank you very much, Reverend Father Jojo Jepigabra. Also, hi Kwame, the MPP manifesto is so fantastic indeed. Dr. Baumia means business. This one is by Soja. Well, thank you very much. Greetings from Taiman. Something about Baumia ticks me off. I live in a town that lacks a hospital, has bad roads, no jobs, and dilapidated school, and he honestly thinks we're going to fall for his cheap antics. 2 terms as a vice president, and he wants to become a president before he does what he can do as a vice president. What a comic. Sasha, or Shasha from Taiman, sent in this message. This one says, Kelly, Dr. Mamiya told us Palu Dam was one of the single projects executed by MPP government, which was a lie, knowing 12 million tax was sunk into nothing. Stephen from Kwabenya sent in this one. Thank you, Stephen, for your message this morning. Good morning to you, KOD. About the port and GRA workers, I don't blame them, because when citizens are made to buy jobs, why wouldn't they sell the country? Dramani from Damango sent in this one. This one also says, good morning to you. Okay, I think I've read this one already. Listen, the messages are thousands of them. I have some from YouTube, so let me read that, and then we briefly just comment on the last issue that needs us to really comment on, which has got to do with the situation that has to do with this our Peace Council and all of that, those entities that are non-functional, really. Movement for Change is saying we should scrap it. I mean, we shouldn't pay them with taxpayers' money. Justifiable, not justifiable, we'll discuss that briefly. But let me just read this message or these messages from YouTube. This one says that his name is Anthony McPhail, says, good morning, brothers. I'm watching from America, and I love hearing about the goings in the motherland, African. I'm a man of African heritage. Okay, thank you. Ben Brown says, glad that I don't believe in democracy. What Africa needs is a leader in the African Union like Kim Jong-un of North Korea, the greatest leader in human history. This is what Africa needs. With Kim as our leader, Africa will work again. All right, thank you very much. AB Councilor says, Alan knows what he's talking about. He was part of it. Butterfly. Into bracket, butterfly. Wake up, Ghana. All right, thank you very much. Listen, plenty messages, but very, very, very little or limited time to discuss all of them. Finally, just in a matter of a minute, really. The Peace Council, do we still need them around? Yeah, Peace Council. Do we need them around? Do we not need them around? I've consistently said we don't need them around because they're not really adding or deducting anything from our democracy. When you have people who are supposed to broker peace and bring about, some level of comfort amongst the populace, especially in times when the elections are drawing nigh, you want to expect that these people will conduct themselves in a manner that will bolster some confidence. But they've been very silent. They've been very mug about the whole situation, and they've not spoken, especially in times when people have made certain, irresponsible comments, silly comments for that matter. Brian Champon saying we won't hand over power, and Peace Council is dead silent as a cemetery, not commenting on this matter. And when the NDC also makes a comment, and I do recall that Asiedu Nketia made a comment, and then the Peace Council was quick to find its voice. So it's the picking and choosing attitude of the Peace Council really that irks me. And I really, with the greatest of respect to them, think that they have outlived their usefulness. So,
no, I agree. I mean, the point is that Peace Council was established in 2011 through Act 818. When it was established, their mandate was to prevent, manage, and then resolve conflict. But you see, we always talk of peace without justice. Peace and justice are complementary goods. Are they able to assure justice? If you are unable to assure justice, then you won't get the peace. So what is your relevance then? As a result of their non-function, we passed the Vigilantism and Other Offences Act. That was to deal with all these issues. Look, the truth of the matter is that we have laws that are capable of dealing with our situation. What is missing is enforcement. And because of our political colonization of every institution, let the laws work. Let the laws work. If someone is trying to steal a ballot, do you go there and quote Bible or quote Quran to stop the person? The police has to act. And in the Vigilantism Act, it empowers the citizen that if you see someone committing an offense, you must deal with that person ruthlessly without thinking of ifs and buts. That is what we need, and not always, oh, come, let us talk. If someone has been cheated and you go and talk to the person to accept the fact that he has been cheated, are you promoting peace? You are promoting chaos. And so it must not be there, especially when they report to the Minister of Interior. Do you believe for a moment that if the Minister of Interior is involved, and mind you, the Minister of Interior is also appointed by the President, he takes orders from the President. So anything that has to do with the President of the day and the Interior Ministry and the party that birthed the government, would they be able to speak to it? It's a waste of our time.
Pamela sends a very interesting, message. He says, good morning to you, Kwame. Please, how many manifestos does MPP have? I can see 2 copies. Ejapadia is the official but hidden manifesto, while the new one is meant to divert attention from their diabolical agenda being rolled out regionally like the Holy Bible under disguise. Beware of MPP. They have 1,000 ways of rigging elections. Say no to the 419 manifesto to save Ghana. Pawili. And I agree with Pawili 100%. Let me come to you.
Yes. So the Peace Council of Ghana seems to be only looking at election peace. They are not looking at peace as we go about our daily duties as citizens of Ghana. And so if it is an election related peace they are looking at maintaining, they should tell us so. But if continuously for 4 years some people have lived in life-threatening situations and there's nothing said, conflicts all over the place, land conflict, chieftaincy conflicts, political conflicts. Kaka and the rest killed activists. Nothing said about 9 people killed somewhere in Obuasi, those days. Nothing said. What is the peace? An individual who lives in a state of insecurity affects the peace and security of the state. And so whatever they are, I think that probably we have to look at it again and see how maybe the role of the National Council of Elders, we can see how we can also fuse that together. And instead of just appointing people who are politically connected, we connect. We take serious citizens of Ghana who at least have some integrity, who at least have some moral conscience that would lead Ghana properly, not people who go into the Peace Council to promote their businesses, people who go to the Peace Council for the first time to have a 4x4 vehicle, but people who have really succeeded in Ghana and are proud of their own achievement, devoid of being attached to government.
Brilliant. Thank you.
That's why I like suggesting the second chamber.
Thank you.
You need a great transformation plan.
Thank you.
I'll force you to read the great transformation plan.
Good morning to you, sir. Napo confirmed the Ejapadia book yesterday. This one is a message that came in this morning. Also, good morning, senior. This one is from Courage, Kotoka, in Aloga, Lashibi, in the Volta region. And then he says, Dr. Baumia, he's just speaking, Dr. Baumia just speaking yesterday as if they are in opposition. All the promises they are making, can he deliver it now? Okay, very soon, Dr. Baumia will promise to provide 1 man with 3 women. Were we not in Nixon's in a year? Okay, Vice President Baumia said that the next MPP government will provide loans for young people to rent decent homes. They rather are making life difficult for us, the youth. Now, cement price is 100 Ghana share. They also 104 Ghana cedis. There's 4 Ghana cedis at the back. They also 100 Ghana. Anyway, Dr. Barzuk.
All right. See, the concept is beautiful. The operation may be a problem. So, and most of us don't even know the work of the Peace Council. Uncle has just mentioned the 4-wheel drive. One, they are not paid, they are not on salary, they are on allowances. And it is clear. You see, the Peace Council, I had the opportunity to speak to some of them, especially the leader.
Okay.
And he is of the view that they are using what he calls behind-the-scenes diplomacy. He's saying that, you say, when somebody misbehaves and you come and condemn the person, it will be very difficult to deal with the person again behind the scenes. That I find to be problematic in case of... You see, Kwame, if you watch my videos, I have on a number of occasions called for the prosecution of all violent crimes in previous elections. And I made it clear that if we do not do that, then we are going to endorse violence in the election.
Indeed.
I've always said that. And I've called on the Attorney General, the Inspector, the
General of Police
of the police to tell us. Maybe they are prosecuting, we are not aware. They should tell us. And I mentioned that I'm happy you have mentioned Kaka and even the Techiman killings.
Yeah.
And then I call it
Ayawasu.
yes, I call it Techiman barbarity and Ayawasu brutality. That's how I titled it.
Unfortunately.
So if whatever the Peace Council does in relation to all these cases should have been known to the people. I want to think that concept is beautiful. So for me, I think it should rather be improved.
Okay.
But what I want people to also understand is that, just as we have rightly said, it is the responsibility of everybody to ensure that there is peace in this country.
Indeed.
Let no politician think that he or she can do whatever he or she wants. Let us all agree that we can hold the politicians accountable. Not even the Peace Council. We want me to stop, but let me say it all. The prosecution of all these crimes, very important. No, we shouldn't leave it in the hands of the Peace Council. Even the political parties themselves. Even the MPP members should come and say it. Because look, if we do not solve that problem, or if there are no, you are prosecuting political opponents, and then what is supposed to ensure peace in this country, you are not aware. You don't show the interest, right? And then you call for. I mean, you are talking about vigilante laws. Look, in the first place, even if we had been serious about the implementation of existing laws, the vigilante law would have been unnecessary.
Indeed.
You see, so it is not the beautiful laws,
right,
but the implementation
of it.
Of the
Thank you very much.
Let me end by saying that peace is a legitimate son of justice.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kwame, tell the NDC that Ghanaians are going to look at the contribution of JM as a vice president and the contribution of DMB as a vice president and cast their votes. All right, thank you very much, Ibrahim, for your message. This one says, he says this one from the UK. He says, MPP Manifesto, not a manifesto. All right, thank you very much. Julian Atta says, please tell the NDC doctor that I have an important information to share with him and I need his contact to call. Thanks in anticipation. All right, thank you very much for your message. This one says, good submission by Dr. Marazuk. Indeed, the power belongs to the Ghanaians, so the politicians must submit their policy document for scrutiny. All right, thank you very much. This one says, where is it? Okay. Hey, this one is quite lengthy. Unfortunately, I'm out of time. I can't. Yeah, Charlie thesis. This one is also another thesis. He sent this one from the University of Ghana, but it's very long. I can't read them. I'm sorry. Good morning to you, lawyer. I'm George from Sikakope. What is the meaning of e-residence? Are they ask who? Why, but they go do some e-residence. Okay. Good morning, K. The entire arrangement was as poor as the manifesto. Can you imagine even a whole reverend was given a script to aid him give an opening prayer, and he was even stammering on stage with it? Dr. Baumia even said that the country is at a crossroad, even when he is currently the vice president and the chairman of the economic management team. This government is now campaigning against the government. Ghanaians are wide awake, and only waiting for December 7 to show them the exit. Thank you very much. With the manifestos, I hope we should set up a strong institution with indicators to measure success and delivery to their manifestos when given the power for both parliamentarians, both majority and minority, and even independent, if any. And all government officials and the president and vice president receive their entitlement. This could be the alternative. Noah from Dansuman sent in this one. Thank you, Noah, for your message this morning. Doctor was once MPP on your station until he realized things were not going well for the MPP. Anyway, that's untrue. He's never said he's an MPP member. Good morning to Kwame Baumia. Thinks he's wiser than Ghanaians. He has nothing in his manifesto. Ghanaians will kick them out. GH from Adidomi. This one says, good morning to you. I'm Top Dog from Boko. I think there should be a law or regulatory act on manifesto correlation index to hold politicians accountable for unfulfilled promises. Ghanaian politicians are drizzling with our mind. I consent with Doctor that all politicians should be called to digest their manifesto.
Thank you.
Kwame, thank God that this time Muhammad's name was mentioned very few. Sometimes back Muhammad's name was mentioned 114 times in single manifesto launch. CJ from Nkoko sent in this one. And that brings us to a closure of the curtains on today's show. Thank you, Dr. Mazo, for your time this morning. Thank you, Solo. Thank you, Dr. Robert Kuka-Gnablen, for your time this morning. Most importantly, a big thank you to the viewers for spending your morning with us here on Pan-African Television. We are not the sole repositories of knowledge. You actually are the people who have the knowledge. And I thank you that you shared just a little bit of it with us here on the morning show. We can do better tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Do have a pleasant day, and make sure that in whatever it is that you do, Ghana should be first. You should put Ghana above every other thing that you do, and the country will definitely develop. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Thanks a lot. My name again is KWAME OWUSU DANSO. Bye bye.